Escambia County Redevelopment Agency regular meeting, January 5th, 2023, 9 o'clock a.m. Please turn your cell phone to vibrate, silence, or the off setting. Board of County Commissioner allows any person to speak regarding the item on the agenda. The speaker is limited to 2 minutes unless otherwise determined by the chairman to allow for sufficient time for all speakers. Is there proof of publication?
Yes, this meeting has been properly published through the Escambia Sun Press on December 29, 2022.
Are there any speakers for public forum?
Not to my knowledge, Mr. Chairman.
Technical and public service consent agenda?
We would like to drop the minutes until the next board meeting due to technical errors.
Okay. Do we need to, can we just drop that, Madam Council? I mean, they want to drop the minutes. Do we need a vote to drop it, or Allison?
Yes, you can certainly drop it.
Without a vote?
You can just take no action, and then it just doesn't get acted upon. Or you can proactively set it for the next meeting or vote to drop it, either way.
That's fine. Budget and finance consent agenda?
We have one on the consent agenda, recommendation concerning residential rehab. We have an A and a B for your approval.
Move item 1's A and B.
We have a motion.
Second.
Second. Please vote. Passes unanimous. Discussion?
Recommendation concerning amending the residential rehab grant program, that the board review and approve the following action concerning a reduction of the matching reimbursement from 50% to a recommended percentage amount for the non-homestead exempt properties in the CR areas. Staff is seeking board guidance on the reduction percentage amount.
So currently, what is it for non-exempt?
50%.
Is there any discussion? Commissioner Kohler?
There was one property I know that I talked to Claire about that we tabled last time. I wasn't sure this was going to come up. It was a non-homestead property that wanted to go to septic to sewer. I don't personally have an issue with it because I look at it as an environmental issue. I would keep it the same at 50%, but if the board wants to change it, I'm not going to have a lot of heartache, but I'd keep it at 50%.
What's the recommendation? Where do you want to take it? 25%?
We're seeking your guidance on that.
Okay, all right, well.
Or you want
I
Jeff?
do believe, actually, I got late yesterday afternoon. I think it is on a discussion item under my discussion for you guys to chat about as well.
Well, look, obviously, I think, like we have discussed before, and Commissioner May brought a very good point, if it's a homestead property and it's a person that lives in the community, I think, I'd give a lot more weight toward doing it. But by the other token, if it's an environmental issue, like septic to sewer, I mean, it doesn't matter if it's a renter or the guy who homesteads it, it's better for us if we do it. So it may be a case-by-case thing, but I look forward to the discussion. And the other thing that I mentioned, and
Do we want to discuss it this morning, or do you want to wait till we get to Wes's item?
Well, and the other thing I would say is we weren't sure about this individual. If I remember right, he was over in Mississippi, and I asked, is he a military person on orders? I mean, could he have bought a house here and now owns a, and did we ever get the answer to that? Because that's, yeah, so I don't know if we got the answer.
Did we get that answer?
No, we didn't get that answer. We can get it, though.
But yeah, I mean,
But I think that
Yeah.
probably, Jeff, if we did not get that answer, I mean, that was probably significant to the discussion.
yeah, I believe it was.
And so I would move to, I would entertain dropping the item until we can get the answers that the commissioners requested.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then bring the item back for a discussion. Are you okay with that, Wes? I mean, because I think that's, for Commissioner Bagash, that was one of his points. And so,
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Commissioner Kohler, so why don't we drop it? And then you, staff, come back with the answers at the next CRA
Okay.
meeting.
Okay.
And then, Wes, we could drop it on your discussion item on regular board. And y'all bring it back at the next meeting. Is that good? All right, thank you. Is there anything else?
That's it.
Well, we stand adjourned. Thank you so much.
All right, see you guys later tonight. Good job.
Commissioner Berry will be doing the invocation.
Yes, sir.
Berry. Who would like to do the pledge? Commissioner Bagash, all right. Any items to be added to the agenda?
Not from me.
Nothing for me?
None for me.
There was one that was added last night. It's been published. It's for the Little Sabine Bay. It looks like it was from CHIPS, so I'm just drawing your attention to it, that it's there.
Yes, sir.
I don't have any add-ons. Before we get into the agenda, though, I would like to make a recognition of some of our employees before we get started.
Go right ahead, Mr. Administrator.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, as you all know, we had a cold weather event over the weekend of Christmas. We had significant issues pop up, and we had significant staff engage. And I want to say that I've heard nothing but good things about our personnel, about our staff, the great attitudes, working on Christmas morning. And I've got a brief write-up here that I'd like to read. It says, on the evening of December 24th, we received notice of issues at the new jail, which required calling in technicians on their day off to make repairs. David Brown responded to the emergency call and was assisted by Kenneth Gilbert in securing a ruptured HVAC coil that was leaking water into the interior office space of the new jail. Michael Edwards, custodial supervisor for the downtown governmental complex, also responded to address removal of the water that had leaked into 3 offices and the hallway. The December 24th response team at the jail was David Brown. If you guys could stand up or wave a little bit more. David Brown, Kenneth Gilbert, Michael Edwards, Jeremy Abercrombie handled the communications. We had fire stations, Chris Anderson, Chris Danley handled communications. On December 25th, Christmas Day, Zach Willis received a call from dispatch that water was coming through the ceiling above the public defender's office. Zach was the on-call weekend tech that was the first to respond. Once we received the call, we started putting together a team to come in and take care of the issues. Once we arrived, we realized this was more than we can handle by ourselves. We immediately got on the phone with First On Site to come in and help with the cleanup. First On Site was able to assemble a team in under 2 hours to come in on Christmas Day and started the cleanup. The response team, Judicial Building from maintenance, was Eric Carter, Steve Doss, Michael Steger, Derek Robinson, Patrick Brown, Andy Duke, Alan Danley, Kenneth Gilbert, Michael Poffin, Zach Willis, and Marcus Smith. From custodial, it was Michael Edwards, George Tolbert, Brian Davis, and Steve Fry. From the road camp and north camp, we had maintenance. We had Andy Duke and Patrick Brown. This response was truly unprecedented, considering both the timing and the intensity of the event. The response teams were comprised of both seasoned and new employees, all providing high levels of professionalism and dedication. They responded during the peak holiday times and not only got the job done, but did not vocalize a single complaint nor a negative comment. They knew what had to be done, and they did their jobs. In follow-up to the freezing weather events, David Brown and Barry Keith were instrumental in making the repairs to the broken HVAC coils and cooling towers after the event. There should be no doubt that any of this could not have been accomplished without everyone mentioned here today. This is a testament to being able to hire good, quality people with a great work ethic. I want to thank every one of you. I know it was a long weekend. It was a long week. Robbie Freeman was keeping me involved and keeping me updated, and as well as some of the other officials. And so, guys, I just appreciate y'all so much, and kudos to all of you. Thank y'all.
Mr. Administrator, I'd like to say thank you for recognizing them. I have Eric Carter in the background, and my office was, 86 degrees, Eric, and 4 hours later it was 65, but he was always checking on me, and our staff that does the courthouse is always there checking on us because it rains inside with every storm, and they are checking on us. So these men and women help all of our buildings, help us to do our work comfortably. And I have 240 jurors every Monday, and they are helping to make sure people can do their civic duty. And thank you very much for taking care of us. Appreciate it.
Mr. Administrator, thank you. I want to take this opportunity to thank our Maintenance and Facilities Department. particularly Donald Knight. Whenever I call on Donald, I mean, he's always there. And these facilities, they go beyond maintaining buildings. When we're doing events, they're there with the children. When we're doing parades, or if we're doing Christmas and distributing toys, or if we're redoing something in the community center, our facility and maintenance staff is always there. You're always there, and you take care of the entire county, and you take a lot of pride in all 5 districts. And for that, we're very grateful and very thankful. And to Donald, to our custodial staff, when we brought it in-house, our buildings are much cleaner. I mean, our buildings are better once we brought it in-house. We can even go to the bathroom now in comfort because because we brought it in-house. And so I'm glad that we do. And I will always be an advocate for pay increases for janitorial and facilities and maintenance, because being a construction guy myself. So again, thank you. And Donald, please tell your staff how much I appreciate the work that they're doing in our community center. I appreciate you so much. All right, Commissioner Spawn, Commissioner Bergosh.
I'm going to wait till this afternoon.
Thank you. Commissioner Collin,
Me as well, thank you.
Commissioner Bender.
Yes, sir, I'll wait.
Commissioner Berry. Again, thanks to our entire facility and maintenance and janitorial staff. You guys rock. Y'all do a great job. Proclamations. Wes, you want to take it from here?
You guys don't have to sit through all this if you don't want to.
Trust me, y'all don't want to sit here. Y'all want to go do some work. Yeah. Hey, Donald, get out of here. As a matter of fact, y'all do such a good job. Take half the day off. The chairman just ruled all maintenance, all blue collar workers get a half a day off. Rob, give them half a day off.
Lumen, I was going to go with the full day.
Oh, full day. Oh, yeah. Hey, that's right. Hey, I'm a blue collar worker, man. Jeff, we get that. Yeah, they deserve a day off.
All right, so we have proclamations. A is to proclamation concerning and congratulating Andrew Tutton, Network Coordinator in the Information Technology Department, on his selection as the Employee of the Year for 2022. I believe Commissioner Kohler was going to present that proclamation this evening.
Yes, I will. Appreciate that, Wes.
And then we have item B, the proclamation commending and congratulating John Lackney, Human Resources Personnel Clerk in the Human Resources Department, on his selection as the Employee of the Month for January 2023. And I believe Ms. Crystal Dudura will be presenting that one. And then we have a ratification of the proclamation recognizing congratulations to Pensacola Blue Diamonds for their artistic contributions to our community. And then next we have written communications. I'll turn that over to Madam Attorney.
There are 3 written communications on tonight's agenda. Mr. Chairman, I'll defer to you. I can run through some of the information about these this morning if you wish.
Yeah, I'd like to get it and see if there's any discussion.
Okay. The first request, this is a District 3 property, 7201 North Palafox. The requesting party is Dale Register, doing business as Advanced Realty Concepts Incorporated. Mr. Register, as Advanced Realty was the owner violator, please note that Advanced Realty no longer owns this particular property. The issue is that the lien that accumulated on this property has attached now to other properties owned by Advanced Realty Concepts. We found 5 such properties, and that is why he needs relief, but Advanced Realty no longer owns 7201 North Palafox. There is a lien of $28,850. That is a lien that includes a $28,300 administrative fines, and only $550 of that is hard cost for the cost of the hearing. But basically, there is a, he wants that lien totally canceled and removed from the 5 other properties that he owns. The property at issue went back to the Lovatos, who cleaned up the property, and they were granted a partial release of the lien on that particular property back in March of 2012. and the property now has changed hands again. 7201 North Palafox is currently held by IOD Investments, which seems to have no relationship to Mr. Register or Advanced Realty. Mr. Register's needing the lien canceled because it's obviously affecting his other properties. It is my understanding that the 7201 property is now in compliance, but that's based on efforts by the subsequent owners. But obviously, the lien is still attached to the other properties held by the owner violator. I can certainly try to answer any questions that you have. I'm not sure what else might be relevant to the discussion. He is the owner violator.
Question, he says in his letter that he was never informed of any Escambia County Enforcement Code claim. Is that true?
Good morning, Board, County Administrator. The process for the hearings that went back in that, I think it was 2000, from starting 2007 to 2010, we got due process through that. I think his argument was there was some issue with him relocating and the mailings never getting to him in advance of that, but all our records indicated that the location that we sent was correct according to the state statute, which we are governed under when it comes to notifying property owners.
So he got a certified letter, I would assume.
Yes, now he would say that it may have came back unclaimed or things of that sort back then, but
But did it come back unclaimed?
we did have an issue where one did come back unclaimed, but we also had it where he did sign for order, signed for a cost order issue there. The magistrate found that it was, the process was sufficient for him to give an order at the time.
I also note, Mr. Chairman, that he's indicated in his communications that his medical condition is such that he will be unable to appear in person. So I would not expect him to be here this evening.
Yeah. Commissioner Bender?
Are the properties that he's requesting relief from, are they in compliance?
Yes, the one property is the new owner, and it actually has been in compliance for several years. He just, as of trying to make some financial dealings, had discovered that this lien was still in existence.
Okay, thank you.
So does he own the other properties as well?
If his real estate company owns them, I believe that's the case, but, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I can just jump in, Mr. Davis, sorry.
Okay.
So there are 5 properties owned by Advanced Realty Concepts, Inc., which do appear to be affected by this lien. Those properties are at 8104 Monticello, 2106 Creighton, 1849 Loyola, 5708 North W, and 500 block of Crow Road.
And sorry, just to clarify, those were the ones I was asking if they were in compliance.
I'll have to check with that today
Okay.
to be sure those are compliant. I'll be sure to give you an answer very shortly here.
That's a good
But
question.
just for the record, we've never had any other issues with these with his properties in this one of our first dealings with him in history. But I'll be sure to double check that and make sure that you all have that information very soon.
Is this a commercial property?
That property at Palafox is commercial.
Is there currently anything operating out of it right now?
At the moment, no, it looks like it's just up for sale at the moment by the current owners.
What type of business is it?
There's nothing there at the moment, but
What
at the
was
past, it was an auto shop, auto sales type of thing that initially was where the case was started. But currently, right now, there's nothing going on.
And
at
no
that
environmental concerns?
property. Nothing at all. It's a very good condition. I'll have photos to reflect that as well.
All right. If you would check to see if the other properties are in compliance for
Yes,
tonight.
absolutely.
And
Commissioner Bender?
I'm sorry, I need to check his date of his letter.
The paperwork does appear as though he actually appeared for the initial hearing,
And that
so
was my question, because it said,
yeah,
he
so I don't think there's a notice issue at
You get-
all.
I mean,
If there
it
was, he waived it.
in his letter in September 15th of 2022, he says, "I say alleged claims because last week was the first time I'd ever heard about them." And, I mean, if he was at the hearing and he was,
It would have been a while back, but the paperwork did appear as though he personally appeared at the initial hearing
well, he also requested that,
and filed an appeal afterwards.
yes,
Yes.
exactly. So,
Yeah, so he was aware.
Robert, I mean, I'll tell you what, you know, we want to get this property, you know, in use, but I mean, I do believe staff when they say that he did receive notice. So, I mean, obviously, we got court costs, and, I mean, if one was returned, I mean, maybe a 50% reduction or something, but, I mean, I don't know if we should waive the entire amount, if staff did everything they were supposed to do.
Sure, and I mean, it seems like he was definitely aware of it. But the request is to get lien relief from all the other properties that it had attached to with the violation property, or from the violation
Yes, the
property.
violation property, that lien that he has is because of,
That's been sold a couple times. So
Yes,
it's all the other properties that he's requesting relief
And in
from.
2012, the board gave relief to the Lovatos for the 7201. They are no longer the owners, but at the time they were, and they got relief from you guys on the 7201. The initial parcel, they got some relief from you guys already on that.
So we waived the entire thing to them?
I'll have to check the minutes, but I do know that they got, I think, partial relief.
yes.
So when why is it still a lien attached if we gave them relief?
But-
I believe it was, I'm sorry, Madam Attorney. You want to interject?
Well, because the lien attached to the other properties in an effort to get it all back, it still exists on these properties that it's spidered to. So, I mean, you have the authority and the discretion to give total forgiveness and get rid of the lien altogether, but if the hope is to get it back, that's why it spiders to these other properties.
So he's not trying to sell all the properties right now, just this one, right?
No, 7201 is kind of off the table at this point. The problem is the other 5 properties the company owns, because their title is clouded by this lien, and he wants them freed up. And he's got these 5 other properties at these 5 addresses I just gave. He wants those to have clean title so that they can do whatever they want to do with them, no doubt sell them or convey them in some way.
That's kind of a heavy lift for all 5 properties.
That's the ask.
And certainly out, you know, 7201 is in my district, Robert, he has one in your district, I think he has one in Jeff's district too. So, I mean, what do you guys want to do?
I'd like to wait and see and make sure all these other 5 properties are in compliance.
Okay, all right, that's fine.
We'll work with Mr. Davis's office today and make
Yes,
sure.
absolutely. We'll have that done this morning.
All right, then we'll just see you tonight then.
Absolutely. Yes,
Thank you. If you find out before tonight, if you could let our officers know.
absolutely. And by the way, Madam Attorney, number 3, we wanted to pull that one. There are some technical things we need to address
Okay.
with number 3.
The third one, drop
Yes.
it?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. And does the applicant know that, or the requesting party?
Yes,
Okay.
we made them aware of that late last month.
Perfect, okay. So if the board would accommodate that, we'll drop the third one. So that just leaves the second one, which is also a District 3. This is a 1530 North P Street, District 3. The owner violator is Lucinda Martin, and she wants relief. The explanation that she's given is that the violations were caused by her tenant, and that the tenant refused to clean up the property, and she was unable to evict the tenant, particularly in light of the moratorium on evictions due to COVID. And so she was unable to get rid of the person who was the problem. Ms. Martin, the owner, did appear by phone on October 6, 2020 for the magistrate hearing. She was given until January of 2021 before the fines would start accruing, but unfortunately, that still didn't happen. The total cost of the lien appears to be $21,450, and unfortunately, there are significant hard costs, $235 for the magistrate hearing, but $11,275 for a county abatement. The daily fines accrued in the amount of $9,940. There have not yet been any payments made towards the lien. There are multiple other properties owned by Ms. Martin that are affected by this lien. It looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, at least 9 other properties in the county that are affected by the spidering of the lien. It does appear as though, because of the county abatement, it is currently in compliance.
Yes.
The underlying property.
Yeah, I'm very familiar with this, and if you, I know, Mr. Davis, it was a squatter, homeless people on there. If some of y'all would be aware that a a homeless person was burned, they wouldn't move the bus off. I literally,
sir.
we've gone by that
Yes.
for 5 or 6 years. It's right at my old employment, so I was on site, and it was difficult, as we know, in removing people, particularly if they've taken vehicles on the land, and that there was a death there, and someone was killed. They couldn't get them off. We went out there and met with Ms. Martin multiple times. I'm certainly supportive of not, waiving court costs or anything, but waiving the other costs that are associated with this. I don't know, Mr. Davis, you worked hard on that project for me.
Absolutely. Yes,
We-
sir.
We couldn't get anybody, we couldn't get him to move.
No, sir, no, absolutely not. And matter of fact, it was because of that and the moratoriums, because of that, that things began to exacerbate where we had to go in sooner than we needed to in order to get compliance. But that tenant made it very difficult. And the moratorium, having him there, actually made it more of a difficult issue for her to get compliance sooner.
Right.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
he kind of moved into a park trailer and had a moratorium where you couldn't evict people and he
Yes.
wouldn't do right. So, yeah, so that's, to me, this is a special circumstance, so, I probably would make the motion to charge court costs to Ms. Davis, to Ms. Martin, if you're in support of that.
Are
Yes,
you
sir.
also including hard costs? So the county would eat the hard costs also?
I probably would make that motion, but I'm willing to say, 50%. I think she deserves something. We met out multiple times with staff. It was one of those squatters with homeless people that she couldn't get him to move, Robert. So,
No, and I don't disagree.
right.
I don't know if we've ever done hard costs before, but I think,
Yeah, I think we have. This is really a unique situation over
yeah.
there.
So let me ask this, how many cases, and you may not be able to tell me right now, do we have that are a result of not being able to evict and COVID and I guess my question is this the first of a long line of cases that we're going to see, and do we need to consider a policy when people couldn't be evicted and things like that?
And I really don't know, Rob, but I know that she contacted my office multiple times, and I met code enforcement out there like at least 10 or 15 times during COVID, and we couldn't get them evicted, we couldn't get the homeless people off. And really what happened was, whether it was a murder, whether it was a death, it was a fire that destroyed it. She couldn't get them off, and she was trying to clean it, but she couldn't evict them. And so I've been aware of it throughout COVID. So I don't know, this is the one that I know about. I wouldn't think that it's gonna be a lot.
No, sir. Typically, and we typically work with property owners when it comes to eviction issues or with property owners. This moratorium was unique, and it was a situation where this tenant continued to make matters worse right near the Salvation Army Community Center. And all these issues began to continue to deteriorate with his activities on site. He had some kind of auto repair business going on that just accumulated a lot of nuisance issues for that neighborhood.
It almost became a homeless site, Robert, to be honest with you. Just like at West Pensacola Ballpark that I'm having a problem with, just like Brent Ballpark, and just like when we're getting ready to do the Palafox field where we couldn't get people to move. So that was the unique circumstance. And so I'm open, Robert. I told her that I would do what I could to help. But if I'm open if if you want to substitute motion, that would be my motion though, because of the unique circumstances during COVID.
All right, I'll mull it today and figure it out tonight.
That's fine. Well, I'm just telling you what my motion will be tonight.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Madam Attorney. Wes?
Did the clerk's office receive the proofs of publications for the public hearings on the agenda and the board's weekly meeting schedule?
Mr. Administrator, the clerk's office has received all proofs.
Thank you. Public hearings, 531 is a public hearing concerning the fiscal year 2022 Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistance Grant. Any conversation, discussion about that one? Clerk, Comptroller's report.
Fine till tonight, 3 items on the agenda. Thank you.
Growth management.
Want a happy new year to the board members and each and every one of you. For tonight, we have the 545 growth management hearing concerning the issuance of an operational permit for resource extraction for Divine Farms Borrow Pit. Then we do have a recommendation for a final plat for Sutton Place. And then we do have our consent agenda for February the 2nd, 2023.
Madam Attorney, can I ask questions about this one? About the Divine Farms? Okay. Have we figured out the acreage numbers in the backup? So it says that when we saw this in 2020, that there was the request to use the remaining 36 acres, subject to required setbacks, that we approved 14. So that would leave 22 acres. And then it says that our approval on November 9th, 2022 was issued to allow for addition of the remaining 11.29 acres. But we held back 22, so this is the remaining 11.29. So that's why I'm trying to figure out what happened to the other 11 acres that we essentially held back in
It
2020.
includes the buffer.
Huh?
The buffer areas? Yes, sir.
So that'd be the 11 acres of buffer?
Yes, sir. 12. It's 12 acres of the buffer. Yes, sir. If you look at it, what's the attachment? I think it's attachment, the color attachment in your backup, it has the development order, and it has all of the buffer acreage and all of that included in there. Yes, sir.
Okay.
The phasing of the different parcels that were extracted.
All right. It seems like the whole 62.59 is being approved. So, and I know I've gotten a couple emails and such on this, so I know we'll have some
Yes, sir.
residents tonight.
And the engineer of record along, they'll be here tonight as well.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, we've got calls on this too, probably 4 to 5 calls on this. I know it's not in my district. I know there's several concerns about the roadway in there, Horace. Is there any other options getting into that pit?
It is my belief that that is the entryway to that pit and from that pit, but I believe that there will be some discussion on that tonight regarding the roadway and everything.
That is the only way to access the pit,
It is? Okay.
on the way in and on the way out.
We're gonna, are you finished with everything? Because I want to hold that to Commissioner Berry comes back.
Absolutely, yes, sir.
I think he's coming back now, so. It's Commissioner Berry's district, so I want to get his input.
And what was the answer to Robert's question? I apologize.
There was some about the acreage, and that included the buffering. Then there was some discussion from Mr. Kohler concerning the road way forward. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so we've got, Don, when did they say the bridge project was going to start? Now, like literally now? Okay. So the good news is that, the county there's a rehabilitation project on the bridge that's on that road that is beginning now. So that's something that I don't think folks are, necessarily aware of. And I'll be good with, moving forward with the discussion tonight. So,
Okay.
if there's not any more discussion this morning, we can save it for tonight.
Robert said he anticipates quite a few
we'll see.
speakers.
We'll see. Yeah, we've gotten 3 emails, so
Okay.
we'll see.
All right.
All right, County Administrator's Report, Car 1. We'll be dropping item 1, recommendation concerning Community Redevelopment Agency meeting minutes. 2 is concerning the Escambia County Title VI Non-Discrimination Program Policy and Plan, Section 2, Part C, 36.
Wes, did we ever get confirmation, or Allison, about the question I asked on that last night in our meeting? About the language? Do you remember?
Yeah, it didn't have
Okay, all right.
Number 3 is concerning an interlocal agreement relating to Escarosa Regional Artificial Reefs, providing a mechanism to collaborate between Escambia County, Florida and Santa Rosa County, Florida. 4 is concerning authorizing the scheduling of a public hearing on January 19th 2023, to consider an ordinance amending Volume 1, Chapter 46, Article 2, Sections 46 through 64, .46-86 and 46-93 of the Escambia County Code of Ordinances. 5 is concerning an appointment to the Escambia County Extension Council. 6 is concerning the scheduling of a public hearing for February the 2nd, 2023 at 5:31 to consider the petition to vacate a portion of Rosalind Way. 7 is concerning a resolution of a temporary road closure on State Road 95, which is US Highway 29, from State Road 296, Brent Lane, to north of State Road 8, which is I-10, for the milling and resurfacing project of State Road 95, which is US Highway 29. CAR 2, item 1 is concerning residential rehab grant program funding and lien agreements. 2 is concerning the contract award for design and engineering services for Carpenter Creek Headwater water quality improvements. 3 is concerning agreement number 22002 with the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission for the Escambia County Artificial Reef Construction 2022-2023 for an amount not to exceed $60,000. 4 is concerning grant agreement number 21365 with the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission for the Escambia County NERDA Artificial Reef Construction 2021-2022 under the Florida Artificial Reef Program, an amount not to exceed $1.5 million. 4 is concerning the fiscal year 2022 fourth quarter community partner reports. 6 is concerning the sheriff's request to access a portion of the budgeted fiscal year 2023 sheriff's reserves to cover increased costs associated with the sheriff's group healthcare plans. 7 is concerning issuance of purchase orders in excess of $25,000 for garage door maintenance and repairs for Escambia County Fire Rescue. 8 is concerning State Law Enforcement Trust Fund. 9 is concerning the issuance of a purchase order to SHI International Corp. For the Proof Point renewal. 10 is concerning issuance of a change order number 1 to purchase order number 230898 for Containers Gulf Coast, LLC, doing business as Containers, Inc. 11 is recommendation concerning leachate transport and disposal. 12 is concerning refuse and recycling services for Escambia County. 13 is concerning issuance of a purchase order in excess of $25,000 for the replacement of the fuel tank at the Escambia County Sheriff's Office. 14 is concerning the issuance of a purchase order to HDR Engineering on the contract PD 020379, professional services for design services for the Renee Terrace Drainage Improvements Project. 15 is concerning issuance of a change order number 1 to purchase order number 221606 for Gulf Marine Construction, Inc. 16 is concerning the construction, engineering, and inspection services for the Perdido Key Multi-Use Path. 17 is concerning the issuance of fiscal year 2022-2023 purchase orders in excess of $25,000 for the engineering department. 18 is concerning the contract award for design services for the Oakfield Acres Palafox Street Drainage Project. 19 is concerning the agreement for reimbursement of licensing expenses. 20 is concerning the funding for Perdido Key Area Chamber of Commerce for the publishing and distribution of the annual Perdido Key Visitor's Guide. 21 is concerning emergency domestic hot water repairs at the Escambia County Correctional Facility. 22 is concerning the construction contract award for the Perdido Bay Boat Ramp Project. 23 is concerning the issuance of a purchase order for repairs of the Little Sabine Bay saltwater transmission main to Dalton Brothers, Inc. CAR 3, we'll be dropping both of these items tonight. I know 5 applicants, and so we would like to hold this one until we are prepared to send both at the same time. And so I'm asking to drop that item tonight, and then based on our earlier discussion, we'll be dropping item 2 under CAR 3 as well.
Thank you, Mr. Administrator. Madam Attorney.
Commissioners, please be reminded that at 3:30, we are having an approximately 1-hour-long shade meeting concerning the jail construction litigation. And just as a reminder, there's apparently a 3 o'clock